Good afternoon, Saturday students. Now I will take it from how Prospero was very impressed by the work and instructions which Ariel had followed. Okay. So, well, my brave spirit, said Prospero to Ariel, how have you performed your task? Ariel gave a lively description of the storm and of the terrors of the mariners, and how the king's son, Ferdinand, was the first who leaped into the sea, and his father thought he saw his dear son swallowed up by the waves and lost. But he is safe, said Ariel, in a corner of the isle, sitting with his arms folded sadly, lamenting the loss of the king, his father, whom he considers, or concludes, drowned. Not a hair of his head is injured, and his princely garments, though drenched in the sea waves, look fresher than before. Now, when Prospero asked him what kind of task did he perform, so he mentioned that when the storm was raised and the ship was appearing that it was going to be wrecked, Ferdinand jumped into the sea, and his father saw the waves swallowed him up, and he has lost his son. But actually, Ariel did not allow Ferdinand to drown. He took him to the isle and made him sit over there. Now, while the king's son was sitting with his hands folded, he was feeling very sad because he felt that his father had been drowned. Now he is feeling sad for the loss of his father. And on the other hand, he says, because Ferdinand saw his father also get into the sea. But Ariel made him to believe in this particular manner. But actually nothing happened to the king of Naples. He said, not a strand of hair of his is injured. He was also put into a place where he was lamenting the death of his son. Okay. So now the father thinks the son is drowned and dead, and the son thinks that he has lost his father. Okay. Now, since the king is only wet, he is drenched. Drenched means soaked, fully wet. His garments, the clothes that he was wearing, he says, and that looks much more fresher than when he wore them. That's my delicate Ariel, said Prospero. Bring him hither. My daughter must see this young prince. Where is the king and my brother? I left them, answered Ariel, searching for Ferdinand, whom they have little hopes of finding, thinking they saw him perish. Perish means die. Of the ship's crew, not one is missing, though each one thinks himself the only one saved, and the ship, though invisible to them, is safe in the harbor. So now what happens? He has already created a kind of a situation where all the crew members, the king, Prospero's brother, Ferdinand, all the crew members, the mariners, they were all made to understand that I am the only one saved and the rest of the crew members have drowned. So, but nobody was drowned. Everyone was safe. Okay, everyone was safe and sound, and he made them to believe that the ship has disappeared, as if the ship had been drowned, but it is actually safe in the harbor. Okay. So now that, because Miranda had requested her father that try not to have any of the human beings in that ship to be harmed. And he promised her that he would not harm them. So he was very pleased with with Ariel, for the kind of work that he had performed. Ariel said, Prospero, thy charge is faithfully performed, but there is more work yet. Is there more work? Said Ariel. Let me remind you, Master, you have promised me my liberty. I pray, remember, I have done you worthy service, told you no lies, made no mistakes, served you without grudge or grumbling. Now, when Ariel saw that Prospero was very pleased, so he reminded Prospero that told me that once my work is over, you will give me my freedom. You will set me free. And I have performed my duty to the best of my ability. I told you no lies. I made no mistakes. And without any grudge, I performed my duty. So now it is time for me to get my freedom. How now, said Prospero. Prospero was not too pleased to hear Ariel make this request. Thy charge is faithfully performed, but there is more work yet. Since you have performed this work very well, I appreciate it, but there is more work to be done. Is there more work? Oh, sorry. You do not recollect. I went the wrong way. How now, said Prospero. You do not recollect what a torment I freed you from. Now, Prospero was not too pleased when Ariel made this request. So he says, you do not remember. Can you recollect what punishment, what suffering you were undergoing when I freed you from that suffering? Have you forgot the wicked witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was almost bent double? Where was she born? Speak, tell me. Sir, in Algiers, said Ariel. Now Prospero is now telling Ariel how he had freed him from the punishment that Sycorax had given him, where he was found shouting and yelling and screaming with pain. Oh, was she so? Said Prospero. I must recount what you have been, which I find you do not remember. This bad witch Sycorax, for her witchcraft too terrible to enter human hearing, was banished from Algiers and then left by the sailors. And because you were a spirit too delicate to associate her wicked commands or execute her wicked commands, she shut you up in a tree, where I found you howling. Howling means crying with pain. This torment, remember, I did free you from. So don't forget the kind of suffering that I freed you from. You were shut in the tree by this wicked psychopath. And I freed you from that. How could you forget that? Now, Ariel felt ashamed. So he asked for an apology. I mean, he apologized to Prospero. Pardon me, dear master, said Ariel, ashamed to seem ungrateful. I will obey your commands. Do so, said Prospero, and I will set you free. He then gave orders what further he would have him do. And away went Ariel first, to whom he had left, where he had left Ferdinand, and found him still sitting on the grass in the same melancholy posture. So now we come to know a little more about Psychoract. She is from Algiers, she was born there, and she did something wrong in which the sailors came and brought her into this isolated or deserted island. And there she started executing her powers and demanding a lot of evil work to be done by these good spirits, and whomsoever refused, they were shoved in the bodies of the trees. And there they had to cry with pain and agony. In the meantime, she had died. So now throughout their existence, they would be there. But to their good luck, Prospero had come. He had some magical powers and he freed them from that. And when Ariel demanded for his freedom, Prospero was annoyed and had to tell him that what work he did for Ariel, and he should be grateful because there is a lot more work that Ariel has to perform for Prospero. Okay, I'll keep it till here and I'll continue in the next class. Thank you.